Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about chasing your dreams because especially considering my changing situation this last week, this is something that's been in my head a lot when considering what I want to do, where I'm coming from, what I've been trying to do the last few years, and what I'm now having to do in terms of kind of diverge from that, limit my time, separate it amongst different things for the sake of survival, for the sake of building out more security for myself, and for the sake of continuing to do what I've been doing the last few years with you guys and with clients and with everything else. And so as a result, I wanted to go through some pros and cons, as it were, in regards to following your dreams, because obviously there are a collection of great things, but there are also a lot of terrible things that, quite frankly, a lot of people just don't talk about. And that's one of the reasons why you've got a lot of young people, especially, who have been told, follow your dream, live your best life, all that kind of very cliche crap that, yeah, to a point works, to a point will make you happier. In the cases of the people who are usually saying this to you, then yeah, they are living examples of where it has gone well. But for every one of them, there are a good number that haven't made it to that point. And so, as a result, I wanted to go through these pros and cons. Now, let's do the pros first. Let's kick off on a positive note, shall we? Now, the first one is days are easy. If you're doing something that you want to do, that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, then you're going to feel more fulfilled. Even the hardest days are going to be easier to deal with because it is still something that you want to do, something that you are enjoying, something that you are engaged with. And especially where I can speak from experience, you go into something and it's not everything you hoped, it's not everything that you thought, or it's in some other way draining to you, and it's not really something that you want to do. Then it becomes like the bad days become really bad. Like they instill lethargy, and they make you feel miserable and all the rest of it. Far more so than if you actually want to see the end result of whatever it is that you've been dreaming of for so long. Now, the next one is, fairly obviously, it can lead to money. It can be made by kind of capitalizing on those things that you are good at, on those things that you care about. It often won't be the sole reason for it. The fact that coaching can be a lucrative profession and things like that isn't the main reason why I want to do it. I want to do it because I'm good at it and because I want to help people. The money, one way or another, is a side effect of that. One can be very rewarding in and of itself, but isn't the main reward that I'm looking for. And being motivated by the desire to make just that dream happen, that thing better, or whatever else, will can very well be recognized and picked up by people. And as a result, YouTube itself is a great example of this, where you've got lots of people who are, as said, following their dream, following the passion, living out the thing that they want to live out. And there are other people who are willing to support them in that because they appreciate what they're doing, either because they wish they could do the same, or because it's providing them a service, or because of whatever else. They're happy to support that. Which, again, then you look at also things like Dragon's Den, where you've got, again, a lot of people who are pitching towards doing what they want to do, living out their dream, living out that thing that they're excited and passionate about, and having people potentially look to invest in them for doing so. So, that's the way it is, I guess. We want to, whilst there's a lot of competition amongst people, we do want to help each other succeed when there's something that we can kind of see as a gain out of it. Now, the next pro is that, again, we've only got a limited amount of time on this planet, and it's one of those things that if you're chasing your dream, if you're following that ideal, if you're trying to get where you want to go, you're not going to have that much in the way of regrets come the end of it. That as goes kind of one of the old sayings. No one ever lay on their deathbed regretting that they didn't work more. So if you've managed to find a way to survive off that thing that you care about, off that dream that you have, good chance is the you're not going to have those regrets, and that time that you have is going to be filled with appreciation for yourself, your situation, the things that you've done, and it's going to be an enjoyable time as opposed to a miserable one. And with that limited amount of time, with that potential for regret, it's always easy to have that creep up on you. And so making sure that you capitalize as much as possible on taking those opportunities, making them into some kind of advantage when you have the capacity to do so, is so much more important than just letting it kind of drift by. Now, let's move on to the cons, because we've got three of those. Now, the first one, and this is a big one, especially in the modern day and age, and that is the often following your dreams, and this is possibly the biggest drawback of this. Following your dreams, following what you want to do, what you're good at, all that kind of stuff, instead of focusing on money, often leads you to places where you don't have an awful lot of financial security. If you're one of these people that can do whose aspirations are very much along a very set career path, then congratulations, well done. You've lucked out, or you've chosen the right thing overall, because you're likely to have financial security as well as being able to do that thing that you're passionate about. But for instance, with me setting up my own business, doing my own thing, having to deal with clients, having to pitch to people, having to work with people, like financial security isn't a thing in that sphere, which is difficult. People who follow things like acting, music, stuff that is very much more creative, or stuff that is very one-to-one, and so it tends to be a one-person show, kind of pitching to larger organizations, or pitching to individuals through word of mouth, or through kind of not necessarily cold calling, but like jumping on people and following leads. You don't have an easy time of it, and in a lot of instances, even with this new opportunity that's taking up a lot of my time at the moment, that will allow me this more security, you often find the to follow that dream, to follow what you're doing, then either it requires an awful lot of stamina, an awful lot of juggling of time, and good time management, and stuff like that, or it's a case of you have to make that difficult choice of either going with following that dream, or kind of dealing with the money aspect, the survival aspect, the security aspect, and balancing those is almost always horribly difficult. But this is one of the reasons why among younger people there are far fewer entrepreneurs than there were a while ago. It's just because young people nowadays are in a relatively speaking bad situation. They are nowhere near as wealthy as their predecessors were. And so as a result, we don't have that capacity to, as soon as you finish uni, as soon as you've had your first couple of jobs or anything like that, to be set in terms of survival, having the capacity to have a place to live or develop a family around you, so that there is that level of support and kind of give and take between people, to then also branch out into the things that you want to do. It's a difficult thing. And so whilst you might not care about the lack of money, it definitely creeps up on you, and it's, you know, if you don't have money, you can't eat, you can't have somewhere to stay, you can't engage with ways to improve. It's the whole, you have to have money, and you have to spend money to make money, and it's tough, especially when it's one of those, if you're in a business, as said, in regards to, say, acting, music, a creative pursuit of some sort. You know, you're often going to be having to do more than one job. You're going to have to engage with things that are going to be really difficult decisions at times, because you're going to be choosing between comfort and survival, and facilitating your next set of actions, and trying to just continue. So, you know, it's a tough one there, and it's one that I'm sure a lot of people can appreciate. Um, the next one, the next one is that there's usually an awful lot of competition when it comes to chasing dreams and things like that, because a lot of people nowadays want to follow their dreams, especially if we're talking again about YouTubers or writers or actors or musicians. The number of people that do things like media courses at university and stuff like that, who then unfortunately end up unable to use their qualification in their field, simply because there's so much competition. It's such a saturated job market. Or in the case of kind of my instance, where you've got a lot of people who are well established in a market, and it becomes a case of finding the right places to pitch, finding the right places to talk to interact with, to deal with, to organise with. And again, sometimes, in fact, quite often in my experience, age plays into that a lot, where if you are the youngest or the oldest person in the room, then you will be fairly quickly dismissed, compared to the kind of more middle-aged or moving towards retirement collective, which are the people that tend to dominate those environments. In terms of networking, in terms of other stuff, it's all managed by, for the most part, one significant age group when it comes to small businesses and smaller endeavours. And so, you know, the number of times that I've been kind of shrugged off, passed over, and all the rest of it, because I'm younger by a decent number of years. And I'm sure that this is something, again, that can also be familiar to people who are in, again, kind of writing and music, where, because they've not been able to build a name for themselves, because they don't have the money to employ an agent or engage with people in the right circles, they run headlong into trouble. This is definitely the case in terms of other YouTubers as well, smaller YouTubers, where they don't necessarily have the money or the connections or the time to apply themselves to finding the right connections, to finding their way to develop. And, you know, it as a result, when it's an attention-based economy on YouTube, that's fine. But when you've got to firstly compete with YouTube's own ridiculous kind of bars that they put in the way, their little goals that you need to run through, but then on top of that, in an attention-based economy, yes, if people want to find the time to watch you, they will find the time to watch you. If you're doing collaborations with people, then there's a good chance that they will engage with those collaborations, because it means that potentially they can watch two of their favourite creators in one video, and they can capitalize on that. But people still only have a certain amount of time per day, or a certain amount of time per week or per month or per year, that they can really dedicate to sitting down and enjoying just online video content, for instance. In which case, even though it should be a much more collaborative environment on YouTube, there's still an awful lot of competition just for people's attention. You know, and that's something that, again, you're going to have to run into pretty much everywhere. And then the last one, and this one's kind of a real kick in the teeth a lot of the time, and that is disappointment. You know, going off trying to follow your dream, trying to follow the thing that you want to do, that you're most capable of doing, that you're most engaged with, whatever. That dream, that idea of where you would like to go in the most ideal situation, you're going to get disappointed a lot. Either by what you can manage, in which case it's kind of being disappointed in yourself by the fact that your dreams, your wishes were maybe unrealistic in certain ways. Which again, if it, and even if they are completely realistic, you still may be disappointed by the fact that just you haven't been able to achieve them. The fact that a lot of being off by yourself and doing your own thing is still engaging with other people. You might be your own boss, but then you've also still got to engage with an awful lot of different customers, networking people, doing all kinds of other bits and pieces, trying to capitalize on opportunities, trying to get those discussions going. And a lot people are disappointing. People are plainly disappointing. They are difficult, and they are hard work, and they are really patience trying a lot of the time. And so, especially when someone said something or said that they will do something for you, then you're going to end up with potentially a lot of disappointment, a lot of rejection, and that can increase the level of stress. And so, even if you're kind of enjoying your days more because it's what you want to do, you can still come out the other end feeling absolutely miserable. Just because everything you have tried for however long has amounted to something, but maybe not everything. Maybe not everything that it was needed to be. Everything that would make the most of it. And at times it's no one's fault. At times the people being disappointing are being disappointing not because they're being bad or negative or anything like that, but just because they're being people. It may very well not be your fault because it's a case of trying your hardest but then just running into brick wall after brick wall, obstacle after obstacle after obstacle that in several cases you may not have been able to apply for, apply your yourself to overcome. And at times it will be completely random freak situations that no one could have predicted. The number of businesses. I saw a report the other day about the California area where you've got all the various fires at the moment, and the number of businesses affected is just sizable. You've had these flames sweeping through residential areas and stuff like that, but within those residential areas are embedded certain services, certain other businesses and things like that. And so, some of those businesses, I'm sure, were people following their dreams, were supporting their families or supporting their communities through doing the thing that they were good at, doing the thing that they wanted to do. And yet, there's a good number of those that are probably on the smaller side, very community based or something like that, I would imagine, that have had huge kind of negative impact as a result of a completely random act of nature that unfortunately just couldn't be easily avoided or easily kind of skipped past. So that disappointment though is going to be real for those people. It's going to be real for the people that relied on those services as well, I would imagine. And so being off by yourself, following your dream, that disappointment is haunting. It follows you. Over the last 5 years of me being a coach, the amount of disappointment that I've experienced whilst being off by myself is kind of heavy, and it weighs on me a lot. Which again, even me taking up on this new opportunity right now, there's a substantial amount of that weight of disappointment on me that I've had to compromise some of the things that I wanted to spend my time doing in regards to talking to you guys through video, in regards to chasing up more for more independent, more interesting contracts, rather than this more steady opportunity I've had to take advantage of. And so it's a case of that as much as I'm thankful for that opportunity and I'm engaging with it, there's still that weight of disappointment on me that I wasn't just able to ensure that everything that I was doing, the people around me, the people I was working with and engaging with, who were there in theory to take advantage of me and my capabilities as a service, so that I could enrich their lives and they could allow me to live mine. It's a pressure on me. I'm very much aware of in regards to just that feeling of disappointment, and it comes down to controlling it, and not just rationalizing it, but also just appreciating both what I can learn from it, how I can interact with it, stuff like that. But it's one of those things, unfortunately. So I'll personally deal with that. But again, it's one of those things that for anyone in a similar situation to me, where you want to go off by yourself, follow that dream, do that thing that you are good at, that you are capable at, that you are fulfilled by, there's a good chance that disappointment is going to be one of the bigger kickers. And it's, again, one of those things that doesn't get talked about enough, and why I feel sometimes really bad, even when I see YouTubers and things that I really appreciate, that I really like, that have been inspiring to me as in regards to me coming and doing this kind of content, to try and help, to try and reach out to people that otherwise may not be able to hear this kind of stuff from a coach, from someone that experiences this on a wider scale and that has training and skills and knowledge that can be applied. I see an awful lot of other YouTubers going, follow your dreams, follow your passion, that's what you need to do. And whilst it's a positive message, and I appreciate them doing it, the disappointment, the insecurity, all of that kind of negative aspects that I've just gone over, it gets skipped past a lot. And I feel like that's almost misleading, almost kind of detrimental to those people who really and truly are probably quite impressionable, who are probably quite young, who are probably quite hopeful still, because they've not had that hope crushed out of them yet. Not that it should be, but it will be, to one degree or another. And so it's a case of, I feel like there's a lack of realism in some of the statements that are made by those individuals, which is a shame, because if there was a proper discussion on this, maybe then there would be a way for expansion into ideas of how people can achieve, how people can enrich their communities and things without having to either conform to the rat race or suffer for the thing that they want. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys have followed your dreams, if you guys have had success with that, I'd love to hear how that's going for you. If you've tried and had a difficult time, then I'm with you on that. But otherwise, I'd love to hear whatever experiences, whatever thoughts you have that you would like to share. But otherwise, I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, found it interesting, please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.